A homemade helium mylar balloon believed to be carrying a 6-year-old boy.
I am the living man.
Yes, my mother twitted my temples!
They say the future is written in the stars. But what if it is actually written in a shady 1-900 number? A best-selling book of nonsense? Or worse, a tarot card reader making wild accusations about a brutal murder? In this video, we are looking at the top 3 worst psychics of all time. We have an infomercial queen who convinced millions with her fake Jamaican accent. We have a psychic superstar who managed to fail in the most devastating way possible. And an internet psychic who accused innocent people of murder using tarot cards. Each one left behind a trail of money lost, reputations destroyed, and lives forever changed.
I think I'm nothing more than a tool by which energy or this thought processes come in.
What else could you possibly want?
Call now and try it for free.
If you grew up in the late 90s or early 2000s, you couldn't escape her voice on the TV.
Your better tomorrow begins today with the wisdom of the tarot.
Bright neon colors, grainy VHS quality commercials, and that unforgettable line.
Call me now.
Call me now.
Call me now.
Call me now.
Call me now. Call me now for a free reading and find out the truth.
She was everywhere. Miss Cleo was the face of the Psychic Readers Network, one of the biggest phone psychic hotlines of its time. The idea was simple. You dial the 1-900 number, you get a reading, and the first few minutes were free. But here's the catch. After that, the clock was ticking at a whopping $4.99 per minute. And spoiler alert, these psychics weren't channeling your dead grandma, they were reading off scripts. But Miss Cleo herself wasn't even the mastermind behind the scam. She was an actress, born Yuri Del Harris in Los Angeles, not Jamaica, despite her entire brand being built around a Jamaican accent. The network's founders collected in close to $1 billion while customers pile up phone bills that could buy a used car. It got so bad that the Federal Trade Commission stepped in. In 2002, the Psychic Readers Network was accused of tricking people with false advertising, overcharging, and straight up lying. They ended up having to cancel $500 million in customer debt. $500 million just gone. Now, you think this would have destroyed Miss Cleo's career, but nope. She somehow turned into a pop culture icon.
I'm Miss Cleo. Call me now for your free reading. The cards don't lie.
Oh, hi, Miss Cleo.
Stop wasting my time. What's your question, you fool?
Well, I was wondering, can you tell me if my boyfriend is cheating on me?
Oh, sweetheart, you an idiot or something. If you don't think he's sticking his thing into someone else, you must be stupid.
Are you sure?
Are you stupid? I told you the cards don't lie.
I'll bet it's that blonde girl with the big tits, isn't it?
Oh, no, honey. It's the boy next door with the big dick. The cards don't lie.
She even became the subject of a 2022 documentary called Call Me Miss Cleo. But here's the thing. While Miss Cleo herself wasn't pocketing billions, her face gave legitimacy to a massive scam that preyed on vulnerable people. People desperate for answers and for hope. They got drained dry instead. And that's the pattern we're going to see again and again. Psychics making bold promises, failing spectacularly, and yet somehow sticking around. Which brings us to psychic number 2. If Miss Cleo was the infomercial queen, Sylvia was the queen of prime television. She had bleached blonde hair, long acrylic nails, a raspy metal singer voice.
And what I've seen lately is an awful lot of spirits are driving in cars with people.
And the confidence of someone who never doubted herself, even when she was not right. Sylvia made her name in the 90s and 2000s by appearing on The Montel Williams Show and Larry King Live. She claimed she could talk to the dead, predict the future, and solve mysteries no one else could crack. And she charged up to $700 for a private reading. $700? You could buy a PlayStation and still have money left over. But her psychic hits weren't just wrong, they were harmful. Let's talk about a few infamous moments. In 2002, Sylvia Browne went on the Montel Williams show and told Sean Hornbeck's parents that their 11-year-old boy had been kidnapped and killed by a black man with dreadlocks driving a white van.
Strangely enough, there are two jagged boulders which look really misplaced because everything is trees, and then all of a sudden you've got these stupid boulders sitting there.
And he could be found near
He's near the boulders.
Is he still with us?
Do you see the bicycle anywhere?
I think see, here's what's strange. I think the bicycle is in another state in a dump.
Sean Hornbeck was found alive 4 years later in Michael J. Devlin's apartment. A white guy with no dreadlocks. Then there was Amanda Berry. In 2003, Amanda, a teenager from Cleveland, disappeared. Her mother turned to Sylvia Browne for answers on national television. Sylvia told her without hesitation,
I don't think I'll ever see her again.
Yeah, in heaven on the other side.
Amanda's mother was crushed, and she died 2 years later, never knowing the truth, because Amanda Berry was alive. She had been kidnapped and held captive for over a decade before finally escaping in 2013.
Sylvia states during her appearances on The Montel Show, in her books, and on her radio show, and in each of her lectures, she cannot possibly be 100% correct in each and every one of her predictions.
And I don't expect that. I have no expectation of that at all.
Right, she has, during a career of over 50 years, helped literally tons of thousands of people. It's also sad that many in the public will afford any other professional, such as doctors, lawyers, law enforcement, the right to be human and to be wrong, but not Sylvia.
Think about that for a second. Sylvia Browne's words didn't just get a prediction wrong, they destroyed hope. They convinced families to stop fighting and to start grieving someone who wasn't even dead. That is not harmless entertainment, that is cruelty disguised as comfort. And yet, despite the massive failures, Sylvia's career kept rolling. She sold millions of books, ran her own church, and made countless TV appearances. It wasn't until skeptics like James Randi and organizations like the Committee of Skeptical Inquiry started keeping track of her failed predictions that more people began to see the cracks in her act.
A big reason I have it in for her, if you want to call it that, is the misinformation effect when she does health readings, which I consider to be potentially very dangerous. She told a caller on your program who was looking for information on her dead husband, that she says, "Oh, I see a clot." The lady on the phone says, "Yes, he had a massive hemorrhage." It looked like a bullseye, Larry. Randy was on your program that night. You thought it was a bullseye. It wasn't a bullseye, though, because the medical establishment contacted Randy soon after and said, "Do you realize that a clot is the actual opposite of a hemorrhage?" It's the opposite of a hemorrhage, Larry. She missed it big time, but your viewers don't know that. She also said that at one of your callers that they were going to need surgery in her anal canal. I consider this very irresponsible and a lack of evidence. And she told another one of your callers that she recommends a bilirubin test. A bilirubin test, Larry. You asked her what's bilirubin, and she said it's a liver enzyme. Now, I got to tell you something. I'm not a medical doctor, so you check this out on your own after the show. Bilirubin is not a liver enzyme.
Oh, yes,
it is a degradation product of human hemoglobin, and it can be found in the bile, Sylvia, but it is not.
I know, because I work with 300 doctors. You want their names and addresses and telephone numbers?
You're not a doctor.
No, I've never claimed to be. But I also...
She's also a medical intuitive, which is she reads people's energy of the body.
That's right.
If there's a blockage in the energy in a certain part of the body, she'll intuit that. She'll see that, and she'll give out what she
But
thinks.
a clot, to me, is something that burns. Yes.
Sylvia passed away in 2013, but her legacy is a chilling reminder. When psychics get it wrong, it's not just embarrassing, it can ruin lives. Unlike Miss Cleo or Sylvia Browne, Ashley wasn't on late-night TV or in a fancy bookstore. She is a self-proclaimed tarot card reader who went viral on TikTok.
Your midheaven sign gives clues to what you will be most successful in life, like in career and purpose and things of that sort.
And while TikTok is full of harmless astrologers, Ashley took things into a whole new dangerous level.
They were in the main room, I heard them dancing and laughing. Kaylee went upstairs and she screamed because someone from the room, she ran downstairs. And I kept calling her name and she wouldn't answer. And then I saw the guy. I had to lock the door and I ran downstairs. We don't know what's going on.
Well, get into town. We've got a quadruple homicide.
Overnight vigils held across the state of Idaho, mourning the deaths of 4 University of Idaho students brutally murdered in their off-campus home. Their murderer still on the loose, while authorities maintain this was a targeted and isolated attack without saying why.
It was one of the most high-profile murder cases of the decade, and the investigation affected the entire country. Well, let me introduce you to Ashley Gillard. Using nothing more than tarot cards and her psychic intuition, she started posting TikToks accusing a completely innocent professor at the University of Idaho of orchestrating the entire murders.
No, I do not know Rebecca Schofield. I'm not connected to her in any kind of way. I'm not emotionally tied to her or any of the victims. I'm not connected to anyone. I have no reason to lie on her. No, I did not just see her picture and name on the University of Idaho history page and then automatically feel it was her. This is not a feeling, this is knowledge. I have no feelings about this. I did a reading when I saw Rebecca Schofield on the history department's page on Rebecca Schofield and her connection. I also did readings on some of the other people and their connection to the University of Idaho crimes. What came out on their reading is how they responded to the crimes and how they were feeling about it. What came out in Rebecca Schofield's reading was how she implemented it, how she planned it, and why.
She doubled down, posting video after video, telling her audience she was sure this professor was guilty.
She knew she was lesbian, but she didn't have the heart to live that life out loud. She said that she was so introspective that she lost her connection to her husband, and that she needed to focus on her finding her truth and her inner healing. So being with Kaylee will allow herself to navigate this truth. But it would be hard for her to make a drastic change and just to leave her husband to be with Kaylee. So this experiment with Kaylee will help her to walk the middle path and have both. At this point, Kaylee realizes that Rebecca Schofield has cyclical behaviors. 1 minute she's one way, harmonious, love, empathy, emotions, and the next minute she's controlling, possessive, aggressive, assertive. And the controlling behaviors was too much for Kaylee. She felt like it was no way out. She felt like Rebecca Schofield was possessive. Anytime Rebecca Schofield felt uncertain about what was going on with Kaylee and that she wasn't following her constrictions, she would take the initiative to go find what she was doing. So she may have even been the stalker. To reiterate, she decides to stay with her husband so that she can paint a pretty picture of herself on the outside. Remember in the readings before, I just kept saying degradation, dishonor. She needed to protect her name because coming out of the closet could hinder that, being caught with a student can hinder that, adultery could hinder that, because she was in a pursuit of a position in the university or in some type of government that she needed to keep her record clean in order to secure. So anyway, Rebecca Schofield and Jack DeCour comes together and she talks about me and how I'm a problem that needs to be solved. She asks him to solve the problem of me and my insights and putting it on social media and getting her caught. She was really upset about the part where I said her marriage is for convenience and she didn't want no marital problems, so she wanted to get rid of me, saying that what he's going through or what I'm doing is temporary. She's going to get rid of the problem. And she paid him for his previous work for the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students, some type of financial compensation. He then takes that and instead of springing into action to get towards me, he pauses a little bit. He suspends action and he starts to reflect on those around him and spend time with his family and friends and enjoy what he has. And during that enjoyment period and during that time of no action, that's when he's gonna be arrested out of the blue.
Yeah, well, the professor had absolutely nothing to do with it. The real killer was later arrested and identified as Brian Koberger. But by then, Ashley's videos had gone viral. The professor's reputation was dragged through the mud. Imagine waking up to see millions of strangers calling you a murderer based on someone's tarot cards on TikTok.
A University of Idaho professor is suing a so-called internet sleuth for defamation after the TikTok personality posted a series of videos accusing, without any credible evidence, that the professor was somehow tied to the November murders of 4 college students.
And honestly, good. Because this wasn't just a scam for money, this was reckless, cruel, extremely stupid, and dangerous. Let's remember one thing. Misinformation spreads faster than facts, and innocent people can get caught in the crossfire. Ashley's story is the modern face of the same old problem. Psychics making bold claims without evidence, causing real harm, and facing very little accountability.
My reputation is destroyed. The TikTok page that I built for years is gone. She's winning in court. My business is ruined. Why do y'all keep commenting?
At least at first. Psychics thrive on desperation. People turn to them when they are lost, grieving, or searching for meanings. It's the Barnum effect at work. General statements that feel deeply personal. Psychics master the art of cold readings, fishing for information and feeding it back like it came from the spirit world. And when they're wrong, well, by then the money has been paid, the damage is done, and the psychics just shrug it off. On to the next one. Miss Cleo showed us how psychics can be used to squeeze money out of millions. Sylvia Brown showed us how psychics' lies can break families. And Ashley Gillard shows us, in the age of social media, how one reading can ruin a life in real time. Miss Cleo, Sylvia Brown, and Ashley Gillard all sit at the top of the worst psychics list, each with their own reasons: fraud, harm, or reckless lies. Together, they are proof that not everything mystical is magical. Sometimes it's just a good old scam. What do you think? Leave me your thoughts in the comments. If you like the video, give it a like or a dislike, it's okay. And subscribe, it's completely free. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I will see you the next one. Stay safe.